Shalom to my brothers and sisters. Hold on. Let me get my light straight. Hold on. Okay, that is a lot better now. I want to bid everybody shalom to the bride of the Messiah and to the scattered Hebrew Israelites who are throughout all corners of the earth. I bid you a shalom too, for you are the bride of Yahuwah. Now, the title of this video is The Second New Moon Report of 2019 AD, Prophecy Fulfilled, and the month of keeping the Sabbath. Yes, the second moon or the second month is the month known as the keeping of the Sabbath. And as we go through this report, you will see what I'm talking about. Why is prophecy fulfilled? Why is prophecy being fulfilled? You will also see what has also come to pass for those who has been following the lights in the heaven. We have learned they are displaying signs which fulfill what the Father said in his prophetic message and what was given unto the prophet Enoch. Please check the video description box for those important announcements. But most importantly, please listen to your prophetic message. And please keep Sister Joy Morgan in your prayers. Okay? If you don't know who she is or what the situation is about, click on the video link in the video description box or look to the letter I in the right hand corner of this video. Okay? All right. Excuse me, I had to clear my voice for a second. Okay. Now we are in the second month of the Most High calendar, which you see before you right now. But before we can proceed to the second month, my brothers and sisters, let us close out the first month of the Most High calendar. And please forgive me for my tongue. You can tell I had a long day, but this has to be done, my brothers and sisters. The report needs to get out. Okay, so to close out the first month, let me get this light situated so that way I can see. Hold on. I think I know what the problem is. It's my phone. I got to get my light straight on my phone. There we go. Now that's a whole lot better. Okay, to close out the first month, which we know as Aviv. Okay, let's go down. In that month, the sun entered into the second sign of Mazzaroth. And it ended with a total of 31 days. And then when we go to the second month of the moon, you will see how I came to that number 31. So the ongoing count for the sun circuit, or as the sun year, we have a total of 61 days now for the sun. Okay? From going from this first month to the second month. Now, in the heathens calendar, which we know as the fourth beast calendar or Satan calendar, you know they have so far a total of 120 days from the month of January to April. Do you see the difference, my brothers and sisters? This is how we know that is the fourth beast calendar. It does not follow the instruction of Yahuwah's word that pertains to this calendar. Go back to Genesis. Look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. So as you see here, Satan calendar so far has 120 days from January to April. But in the Most High calendar, for the days of the sun, we have a total of 61 days. Okay? Now let's look at the moon. Bear with me, my brothers and sisters. All right. For the days of the moon in the Most High calendar for the first month, let's see, can I find it? I go higher up. We have a total of 29 days. Okay. Now, for the people who are in Israel, As some of you have checked your sources today, we have found out they have not seen the moon yet. It's not the new moon now, but they have not seen the moon yet. However, we here in America and other countries throughout the world has seen the new moon. Okay, it was seen on the heathens' day, known as Sunday, at sundown, which fell on the heathens' month, which is May the 5th. May the 5th. Okay. So this is why the Most High calendar has 29 days. And I have not put a number down yet for Israel and for Brother Hashur, because I kind of want to see what's their final result. So we have to wait one more day. But as of right now, they have not seen it. Okay. And when we look at the astral timing of the moon and astral timing of the sun, that would be discussed in the in the seasonal report when we look at the quarters of the year. Okay. All right, now let us go to the second month. So reflecting on the title, you're probably saying, why is the second month biblically known as the month when the Sabbath was kept in the earth? It's very important for you to know that. Remember, the Father is teaching us deep spiritual things that pertain to these holy days, and also it deals with biblical events to give us understanding of what took place in Genesis and why he chose a nation out of the earth to be a people unto him. Okay. Some of you are aware of the sacred books that give us more insight. But if you're not aware, there are clues in the 1611 Bible that will also give you understanding on why the second month is known as the month when the Sabbath was kept in the earth. Okay? Now let us begin. All right. So we're in the second month, and it falls in the heathen year of 2019 to 2020. Okay? Now for those who do not follow or believe in the 13th moon, they are in their fourth month now. And as we have proven at the beginning of this year, that they have been out of season now. So there is proof and evidence that is done by the heavens under the powers and authorities of Yahuwah that the 13th month does exist. There's evidence in the 1611 Bible and in the prophet Enoch's writings. Remember, he has not only the first book, but there's a second book of Enoch that will give you more insight. Okay. And let me see what else we have here. And for Brother Hashur, we're back on track with him for this year as well. He is also too in his second month. So the second month is known as Ziph, and you can find that word in 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 1, and it means brightness. And in the heathen's calendar of this year, it fell in the pagan month known as May, and would go up to June. Okay. In the second month of the moon, the sun will be entering in the third sign of Mazzaroth. Okay. Now for the fourth beast calendar, when we look at the ongoing days from January to May, they will have a total of 151. But we know why their number is way off or greater than what we have for the days of the sun, because they do not follow Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. Big difference. That calendar is fixed. When you click on the Google document link to have access to this calendar, it is free unto you, my brothers and sisters. There are scriptures listed there for you to read, to do a more study on. Okay? You have scriptures that pertain to the new moon offerings. There are scriptures that pertains to Pentecost, also known as Shavuot, right? And there are scriptures that pertain to the second month. Now, here's the part that we get into to understand why is the second month known as the month of man keeping the Sabbath when it, started in the earth. When you add up the time, because this is evidence in the Bible, as well as Josephus, the book of Adam and Eve, many other books, you can figure out or get an estimate of what time we are in, okay? But we look at the biblical events that in the 8th day of creation, which is the second day from Adam, or the 2000 year from Adam, this is the month when the Sabbath day was given unto the nation of Israel. When you read the Bible, you will understand it's not our Father holy. What is done in heaven is also done in earth. Therefore, in order to keep the Sabbath, you have to be sanctified. So when you study Genesis, did not Adam fail? He did. So in order to keep the Sabbath, I'm going to repeat this again, one must be sanctified to do it. Now, I'm not going to go in specific details on that. I'm just going to give you the highlights in this video because I want you to watch the video about when did man keep Sabbath in the earth, because it's going to give you the scriptures to give you more understanding, because it's in Torah, it's also in the prophets, and it's in the book of Jubilees, and it can be in many other sources as well. Okay, but notice this is a biblical event that I'm announcing. In the second month of the Most High calendar, this is when the Sabbath day was given to the nation of Israel to keep in the earth. And then I'm going to give you another hint. It's the reason why Israel was called his firstborn son. It's the reason why Ephraim was called his firstborn son. Do you understand why they was chosen to keep the Sabbath day in the earth? As far as the timeline, it fell on the 8th day of creation, which is known as the 8,000 year, or the 8th day from creation. And when we convert that to Adam's time, it fell on day 2 from Adam, which is the 2,000 year from Adam. Okay. Now let us begin. So the new moon was sighted on the heathen's day, which was May the 5th at sundown. It was sighted in the West and in many other countries. Okay. On this calendar, when you click on the Google document, there is a link for you to click on to see the photos of the sighting of this new moon. Click on 2019 to 2020 for the moon photos, and you will see the sightings for the second new moon. Okay? So this is the first day of the new moon. And this new moon fell on the sun's second month and 16th day. When you study about the circuits of the sun and the moon, you will learn that the moon's circuit is shorter than the sun's circuit. Therefore, they would never be on the same track. Their numbers would not align because, again, the moon's circuit is shorter than the sun's circuit. Okay, this is another reason why the heavens produce a 13th month, to keep the moon in a line and in its proper seasons. Remember, the 3 lights plays a very important part in his calendar. Each of them have a specific role and an assignment in his calendar. If anyone is teaching you about his calendar, they must have these 3 lights. Okay, it is the instruction of Torah. All right. Now let's go to the first week of the moon. So we already talked about day 1. So in the first week of the moon, which is day 2, okay, and day 2 is over now because sundown has came. On day 2 of the moon, Israel and Brother Yahushua has not sighted the moon yet. Okay, so right now, day 2 of the moon would be day 30 for them for their first month. All right. Now, day 2 of the moon falls on the sun. It should be, I'm sorry, I got the wrong day. Let me go over here. Day 2 of the moon will fall on the sun, second month and 17th day. And on the heathen's day, it falls on May the 6th at sundown to May the 7th. So Israel and Brother Yahushua has not sighted the moon yet. Okay, so it'll be day 30 for them. So on day 3, if they see it then that would be their first day. However, this fulfilled biblical prophecy. I cannot stress to you, to my brothers and sisters, please read Yahuwah's prophetic message he tells you, which confirms what was given unto his prophet Enoch. Read on 1st Enoch and 2nd Enoch. Okay? Now, in the second week of the moon, we have the moon increasing into light, which is 50%. It falls on day 7, which also falls on the sun's second month and 22nd day. On the heathen's day, it falls on May the 11th at sundown to May the 12th at sundown. And then the Sabbath day will fall on day 8 of the moon, and it falls on the sun's second month and 23rd day. Take this time now to pause your screen, and on the heathen day, the Sabbath will fall on May the 12th to May the 13th, from sundown to sundown. Remember, the Most High have his heavens to tell us when his Sabbath day is. I have hardcore proof that the Gregorian calendar, which is Satan's calendar, will not give you his Sabbath day. They made many errors in the calendar, but one of these errors I'm talking about cannot be disputed. It is simple math, and it cannot be ignored unless you have a hardened heart and you don't want to hear. Okay? So come back to this video, check out in the right hand corner, look at the letter I, and you will see that video listed to watch. The title of that one is Israelites cannot dispute the 1582 error and the 1752 error. It cannot be disputed. Okay? Let us go to the second week of the moon now. All right, we have a lot of things going on in the second week of the moon. So let's look at day 10. For those who have read Torah, as well as the Book of the Kings, there is a month for our brothers and sisters to make up Passover. For those who is not able to keep the Passover in the first month of the Most High calendar. So this is why you see me having day 10 listed as to get the lamb. I don't know if you can see that good or not. Okay. And that falls on the sun. I'm sorry. I need to go over again because I did the same thing again. It falls on the sun's second month and 25th day. And on the heathen's day, it falls on day 14 to day 15 from sundown to sundown. So when you click on the Google document, it lists all, like not all, but it gives you the highlight of certain biblical events that take place. Please watch the first new moon report to understand how our Father taught through numbers. Okay. It's the reason why he have you get the lamb on day 10 and then to sacrifice the lamb on day 14. Our Father speaks through numbers, letters, words, science, through his creations. He's constantly talking to us and giving us deep things to understand. Okay? Let us continue. Let's see what else I wanted to say. I need to go back. Let me go back. So in the second week of the moon, another thing the Father wants you to pay attention is going back to the book of Joshua. He lists some very important dates or important things that took place on day 14 and day 15, which pertains to the manna. Okay. um, there is a video on the channel for you to watch. And the reason why I'm smiling, because when you understand the message behind why the matter ceased on day 16, then you will understand what it represented. Okay, and how it aligns up to the Most High calendar, how it aligns to His Sabbath day. For example, day 14, they in the days of Joshua, they kept the Passover in the plains of Jericho. Okay, and also on this same day, this was the day when the Messiah taught them about washing of the feet, and this was the day when the Messiah was crucified. And the 14th day is also known as the day of preparation. The day of preparation is the day before the Sabbath. On day 15, in the days of Joshua, they ate the old corn. Okay. Then, and at this time, Yahusha, the Messiah, is in Sheol. Remember, he had to go down to Sheol. Okay. Has to preach to the captives. And let's see what else I want to say. And this was also a holy convocation day, a day of rest. Okay. So when we get to the third week of the moon, we'll talk about day 16, okay, which is the first day of the week, which we see what that represents. Okay. So now we go into the second week of the second moon. Okay. And what you see here, I have listed some scriptures on day 14 that pertains to the makeup Passover day. And also there is a video on the channel that talks about the second month. But if you cannot find that video, the most important thing, it takes place that when you read the book of the Kings in the days of Hezekiah, they too had to make up the Passover. And some deep things that's revealed when they do it. My brothers and sisters, you need to read that passage. Go back and read in the days of Hezekiah and see what they do and see what the kings say unto the Israelites who need to keep the Passover. Okay. It's like I said, it's a lot of great messages in there. On day 15 in the second week of the moon, okay, it is a holy convocation day. It is a day of rest. And it's the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay. Remember, day 14 is the Passover. Now, when you read the Bible and certain other books, our people will classify or include the Passover with the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So instead of saying Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, they will also say, instead they would just call it all together the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay. But on day 15 is the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, or the first day of the 7 days. Okay. And I put these scriptures down because you will see when the Israelites was instructed to keep the Sabbath. Okay. You will see what would take place. Okay. When they was in the wilderness of sin. Also, I list other scriptures for you to read because something had to take place before they was given the instructions to keep the Sabbath. Okay. Remember, I gave you a hint. Not anyone can keep it. Also remember, what's done in heaven is done in earth. And our Father is holy. So there's some scriptures listed in this calendar for you to read to understand what had to take place first before they was given the instructions to keep the Sabbath day. And when you understand what had taken place, then you understand why Israel and Ephraim was called the firstborn son. Okay, these are spiritual things. Also listed on day 15, make sure this can focus. Son. Yeah, I gave you scripture about the firstborn. And this takes place this year. It falls on the sun's second month and 30th day. On the heathen's day, it falls on May the 19th to May 20th from sundown to sundown. Okay. Now let us go to the third week of the moon. All right. In the third week of the moon, you see a lot of things I have written down. In the third week of the moon, which is day 16, this is the first day of the week, which aligns up what has taken place in the gospel. For in the gospel, this is the day when the Messiah resurrected, which go in hand the day when the manna ceased. Also, it goes in hand. Let me see what else I want to say. It was something else. Oh, it also go in hand with the sheaf wave offering that is presented unto the high priest. Do you see how everything tied together? Which is proof of what the word was teaching me about his calendar. It is not in the same manner or the same way the heathens say. Okay? It is completely different. The Father works in circuits, in cycles. He has a beginning and an end. And when you understand him, then you understand how he does time. Okay? So in the 16th day of the moon for the second month of this year, this is day 2 of the Feast of Leavened Bread of the 7 days. And on this day, this is when the sun enters in the third sign of Mazzaroth. Okay? And so when the sun does this, this is the last day of the sun's second month, making it a total of 31 days. So that's how I got that number for the second month. I counted a total of 31 days. Okay? Based on when the sun entered into the third sign of Mazzaroth. Go back and read Enoch's first writings. He breaks it down. Okay? Also on this day, this is a biblical event. Remember when was telling you about how the children of Israel entered the wilderness of sin, and that is there where they receive the instructions on when to keep the Sabbath day. Okay, so on day 16, you have the quails that came at even, and then you have manna, and they're supposed to collect 1 omer. Okay, and that happened that morning. That was on day 16. Then on day 17 of the moon in its second month, we are entering into the third day of the Feast of Leavened Bread of day 7. And it falls on the sun's third month and first day. So this is the first day of the sun's third month. And on the heathen day, it falls on May the 21st to May the 22nd from sundown to sundown. As far as the biblical event, this is the second day. They are to collect the manna, which is 1 omer in the morning. Okay. Then we get to day 18. Okay. And I'm not going to repeat all the same thing over and over, but I just want to give you an understanding of that biblical event. They are still collecting manna on that morning, on day 18 of the moon. Then on day 19 of the moon, they are doing the same thing. That biblical event. They are collecting manna in the morning. And then on day 20 of the moon, they are still collecting that manna. Please read Exodus chapter 16. Write it out and you will see it. Because it's very important. Because then you will see the biblical events that take place for the Messiah falls in the correct day of the Sabbath. It will fall on the 8th, the 15th, the 16th. On the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. Because when you look at the gospel, he was crucified on the 14th day, which is preparation day. Then on the 15th day, his soul remained in Sheol because he had to preach unto the captive. Okay? Which is the Holy Convocation Day, which is the day of rest. Then on day 16, which is the first day of the week, he resurrected. Do you see how these events are tied in together, giving us deep understanding? Okay, so on day 20 of the moon in the second month, they are still collecting the manna, okay, as instructed. But when they get to day 21 of the moon, okay, when we look at this biblical event, they must collect 2 omers of manna on this day because this is the preparation day. Go back and read Exodus chapter 16. And then go back and read the gospel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Also read the days of Joshua, when the manna ceased. Also read the part in Leviticus 23 when we had to present a sheaf weight offering, which is the first fruit of the barley harvest, which represent the Messiah being the first one or the first person to resurrect. Okay? Everything ties in together. And we know the sheep weight offering is presented the day after the Sabbath. And what is that Sabbath? It is day 15. It is a holy convocation day. It is a rest. It is a Sabbath. It all lines up, my brothers and sisters. So on day 21, the moon, in the moon's second month of this year, we have the moon decreasing in light. And it fall on the sun's third month and fifth day, which is the heathen's day of May the 25th to May the 26th from sundown to sundown. Okay? And on day 21 of the moon, this is a holy convocation day, a day of rest. And this moon phase is decreasing in light. Now, I do need to backtrack on one thing if I forgot to mention. The full moon does fall on day 14 in the sun's second, not the sun's, but the moon's second month. Okay? Because usually there's a full moon on the Passover day. Now we know that the moon did a strange thing in the first month, but it's according to prophecy. Okay? Now going back to the third week of the moon, we look at day 22 of the moon. Okay? This is, make sure I look at something right quick. The Sabbath day for the Israelites who were in the wilderness of Zin. Again, read Exodus chapter 16. For this year, it falls in the sun's third month and sixth day, which fall on the heathen's day, May the 26th to May the 27th from sundown to sundown. Now, I did forget to say this, so I do have to backtrack one more time. We are now counting to Pentecost. So in the first month, the count started after the first Sabbath. The first Sabbath fell on day 15 of the moon. Okay. When it fell on day 15 of the moon, then the first count of the Sabbath fall on day 22nd of the moon in its first month. Then the second count of the Sabbath will fall on day 29 of the first month of the moon. Okay. So when we get to the second moon, the third count of the Sabbath, because remember we must count 7 complete Sabbaths first. It's 2 parts to this equation. So the third count of the Sabbath fall on day 8 of the moon in its second month. Okay. Then the fourth count of the Sabbath will fall on day 15 of the moon in the second month. I'm going to let that come in some. Hope you can see it. If not, click on the Google document. Okay. Remember, it's free. You can print these out. And the sixth Sabbath of the 7 fall on day 22nd of the moon in the second month. This is based on the Most High formula that was given unto his prophet. Read the book of Ezekiel and you will see it. It's there. Because you will learn the new moon day does not fall on the same day as the Sabbath. When you study the offerings, you will see the difference. This is why when we read scriptures, you will see the new moon written out separately from the Sabbath. Okay? The evidence is there from the old to the new. All right? Now we will go to the fourth week of the moon in its second month. Let me focus and see where I'm at. So in the fourth week of the moon in its second month, let's see what's going on. for that week. We have the moon decreasing in light now, okay? And on day 28 of the moon, we have the last waning crescent. Now, this phase of the moon cannot be seen until the late night and early part of the morning, lasting maybe up to noon, depending where you are located, okay? This will occur on day 28 of the moon, which fall on the sun's 3rd month and 12th day. Now, on the heathen's day, it will fall on June the 1st to June the 2nd from sundown to sundown. When we get to day 29 of the moon, that is the 6th Sabbath of the 7 Sabbaths we are supposed to count, okay? And on this day, this is when the moon has no light upon her. As the prophet Enoch has prophesied, this is the day when this is the end of the month, when the moon had no light upon her. In other words, when we can no longer see her in the heavens, we all know we are at the ending of the month, okay? And this phase falls on the sun's 3rd month and 13th day. On the heathen's day, it falls on June the 2nd to June the 3rd. Now for more information that pertains to the Sabbath count. Will you learn through the word, there's 2 parts to the Sabbath count, which there's 2 parts to the count of Shavuot, known as Pentecost. You must count 7 complete Sabbaths and 50 days. There are many videos on the channels that will give you proof. Even today in the land of Israel, the wheat is only ripened in summertime. The wheat ripens in the same time that the grapes ripen. The evidence is there. Okay? On the channel, I want you to watch the videos that pertains to the 4th month report of last year. Also, it's going to talk about why the Israelites would name the 4th month after another god. You know, because they was in idolatry too. But it's a reason. And it pertains to wheat. Okay? Watch that video and you will see. And even today, they're not going to advertise this information, but the evidence is there. In the land of Israel, whatever wheat they do grow, because you will learn that most of their wheat they have to export in. They do. But whatever wheat they do grow for themselves, it's usually ripened in the summertime. Summertime. Okay. So when we look at Mazzaroth, the sun entered into the 3rd sign of Mazzaroth on the 16th day of the moon. Okay. Now the heathens today call it Gemini. Read the work of Josephus. He will expound some on that. But remember, Israelites and Gentiles, what the Father has given us understanding about these lights in the heaven will not be the same as what the heathens understand. Please don't get them confused. Okay? When the sun entered the 3rd sign of Mazzaroth in the land of Telarai, Israel, it would take place on May the 20th, 2019 at 8:59 p.m. It should be Israel daylight saving time now, because that's what they're doing. All right? And this complete the 2nd new moon report. So let us reflect. We can see prophecy being fulfilled because Israel did not see the new moon. And it's the reason, Israelites, the Father is telling you who they are and who you are. For they're not the true blood descendants. They are converts. He tells you in his prophetic messages why these lights are doing what they are doing. Oh, Israel, please hear the Father word. Print out those prophetic messages. Ask him to give you understanding of what he's saying. For he speaks to the 12 tribes of Israel. He speaks to the lost 10 tribes of Israel. And he speaks to the bride of the Messiah. Print those messages out. And now we will get an understanding why this 2nd month is known as the month of keeping the Sabbath. We got to understand our Father. And we got to understand these two realms, because a lot of us do not understand what's done in heaven is also done in the earth. For the spiritual going hand with the carnal. All right. I have said enough. Come back to this video tomorrow. Well, I don't want to put a date or time. When you have a chance, come back to this video. Because there'll be other videos attached that will give you more understanding on what we discussed in this second new moon report. And I bid you all a shalom, and continue to preach the gospel that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For we know this is the season for the Messiah to return. For we are in the 7th day from Adam, which is the 12,000 year from creation. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize them in the name of Yahusha HaMashyach. For the Lamb set the example of the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism. And we follow the Lamb example. For there's 3 witnesses in the earth, and there's 3 witnesses in the heaven. Shalom. Peace. And do you know who that peace is? If not, study the Hebrew letters in Psalms 119. And then you will understand Matthew chapter 28, verse 20, Matthew chapter 10, verse 12 to 13. And then you will understand why he bid a peace unto his disciples. Shalom.